Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Christopher Kraus, your Learning and Development Specialist at Embraer. Welcome to our remote wellness webinar. This week's topic is mental health and emotional well-being. And as always, before I introduce our guest speaker for the week, let me go over some housekeeping. It looks like you've all done this. You've muted the microphones and you've disabled the video. So that's great. And at the Q&A session at the end, uh, we've got a small enough group where I think we can unmute the microphones if you have questions. Um, just a reminder, the session is being recorded, and Q&A will be at the end of the presentation. So if you have some questions, make a note, either physical or a mental note, and ask them at the end. Um, and just as a reminder, that post-session survey at the very end of the session will have a QR code that comes up on the screen. Please make sure to open your camera on your phone and open that survey. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear what you think of this topic and of other topics for the future. Um, and with that, let me introduce our guest speaker. We have Joe DeMatteis from United Healthcare. He's our United Healthcare health coach. And Joe, take it away.
Thank you, Chris, and hello and welcome to our presentation on mental health and emotional well-being. Like Chris said, brought to you by United Healthcare. And this is Joe DeMatteis. I'm your health coach, and I've been, for those of you that are first time joining, welcome. And if this is your second or more times back, welcome. I've been the health coach now for a little over 2 years with Embraer. I've been with United for about 4.5 years, but I've been in the role of a health coach in 7 years. So anyways, before we get started, let's practice a breathing exercise together. We've all heard the expression, take a breather. Sometimes just 5 minutes of deep breathing is enough to ease stress. Most people, what we tend to do is we tend to breathe shallow, especially when we're stressed and tense, and that's what we don't want to do because it doesn't fully fill our lungs up. So deep breathing helps get more oxygen into the lungs, and it also helps calm our brain down. So let's give it a try. So you can see on the slide, you can follow along. You can either sit or lie down, put one hand on your stomach. I want you to breathe in slowly through your nose. I want you to fill your lungs up. If you feel your stomach expand, that means you're using your diaphragm. That's fine as well. Breathe out of your mouth, aiming to empty your lungs as much as you can. The hand on your stomach should move in as your abs tighten. That indicates that you're using your diaphragm to breathe. Continue these deep, slow breaths in your nose and out your mouth, making your stomach or your lungs rise and fall. One of the benefits of breathing, and doesn't necessarily mean meditation, but just breathing in general, it helps lower that cortisol hormone. And that's the hormone that when we're stressed and we're anxious, that tends to rise and makes us feel a little bit more tense. So I always tell people every day, try to take even if it's like a minute, just to breathe when you feel stressed or overwhelmed, just to help calm yourself down. During this presentation, we're going to explain the importance of making healthier choices and provide you with ways that may make you improve your mental health and emotional well-being. But specifically, we're going to cover mental health fast facts and definitions, common myths associated with mental health. You may find some of those very interesting. Signs of mental health changes, reasons that you may need to seek help, and finally, ways to support your mental health. Mental health illness is more common than we think. It's even more prevalent than ever with the use of cell phones and social media and people finding ways to compare themselves with others, which is what we don't want to do. It's estimated that 50% of all Americans will be diagnosed with a mental health illness or disorder at some point in their life. 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. will experience a mental illness within a given year, and 1 in 5 children currently or had experienced a serious, debilitating mental health illness. Mental health and mental illness, they're often used interchangeably. However, they have different meanings. So mental health is our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, how we act. It also affects how we manage stress, how we relate to others, and even navigate different situations in our lives. It can change throughout our life, and mental health is important in every stage from infancy all the way through adulthood. So it's not just important, as a child or as an adult. It's our whole stage. So that's mental health. Mental illness is a diagnosable health condition in which there are alterations in thinking, mood, and behavior. Mental health illness is associated with impaired functioning, and some of those examples include anxiety, depression, postpartum depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, just to name a few. Now, mental illness can last for a short time. It can come and go, or it could even remain throughout your life. Many individuals, they are able to recover and manage their mental health illness. So why mental health matters? Poor mental health, it can affect our relationships, not just with ourselves, but with, our significant other, coworkers, friends. It impacts our ability to reach our full potential. It can impair the way, we cope with stress. And it's also associated with chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and in different types of dementia, which is, memory loss. Mental health problems. Let's get into some of the myths here. Mental health problems do not affect me. Well, as previously stated, 1 in 5 Americans will experience a mental health illness in a given year. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death. Mental health problems do not affect children. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put some of these up. 1 in 5 children currently or previous experience a mental health illness within a given year. 50% of children show mental health illness signs before the age of 14. That's very, very high and very alarming. 75% of mental health illness is diagnosed before the age of 24. I mean, think about that. 3/4 of very young adults are going through this, and it can really affect them, as they get older. Young children can show warning signs of mental illness, and these warning signs, they may be the result of biological, psychological, or even social factors. Many children go undiagnosed. This isn't something that schools particularly test for. Early identification of mental illness and treatment can improve the well-being, especially how a child develops. Many people with health problems are violent and unpredictable. That is false. Most people with mental illness, they're not violent. In fact, only 3 to 5% can be attributed to someone diagnosed with serious mental illness. You might know someone that has a mental illness, but that they don't realize it, because many people with mental illness, they're active, they're engaged in their community and jobs, but don't really know it. Another common myth, personality weakness or character flaws can cause mental health problems. False. People can snap out of it, if they try hard enough. Mental health problems, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're mentally weak. Many factors can contribute to mental health problems, including biological factors, family history, life experiences, even hormonal imbalances can affect, your cognitive function and your mental health. And they require evaluation and treatment just like anything else. It doesn't matter if it's heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. People can get better and recover with the right support system around them. People obviously, they think there's no hope for people with mental health problems, and that is false, because once a family member or friend develops a mental health problem, they say he or she will never recover, and that's not true. Per the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, studies show that people with mental health problems, they can get better, they can recover. There's many treatment and services available, and we'll get to some of those later in this presentation. People think that they can't do anything for people with mental health problems, and that's false. Family and friends, believe it or not, have the greatest impact. They can serve as not just an empathetic listener, but they can help connect the person to services that they need. They can help debunk mental health myths. And the support of family and friends, it goes a long, long way with helping people recover. And some people think that therapy and self-help are a waste of time. Why bother when you can just take a pill? Everybody just thinks you can just take a pill or do something, then gets rid of it. And that's false too. Every individual has a unique treatment path. Medication, therapy, self-help, they all play an important role in mental illness recovery. And many times a combination of treatment strategies are used to help, to help with recovery. And then the last one, prevention doesn't work. It's impossible to prevent mental health illness. And that's a myth. Prevention focuses on identifying risk factors in individuals that may lead to mental illness. Examples of risk factors include, life events such as trauma, things that have happened at a very young age can have an effect on you as you get older. Taking initiative and seeking help for not just yourself, but for advocating others, for an individual to help seek mental health changes. They help improve the quality of your life. And if you're unsure if a loved one may need help, it's never wrong to seek guidance from a professional. No reason is too small. So on this side, this side here notes when an individual has changes in their mental health. You can skim through those bullets. This isn't this is just a short list. There could be a lot more. Some individuals may experience symptoms that are not on this list, but the main point of this note is to show you that each individual, is unique in regard to how they manifest mental health changes. And if you notice changes within yourself or a loved one, as always, speak up, don't hesitate, always seek help of a professional. On this slide, there's a list of reasons why some people might seek support from a professional. Remember, no reason is too small, like we've said, and if you're not sure if you can benefit from it, it's always best, consult with a professional. So, as you could see, some of these are, more common: addiction, eating disorder, trauma. We said earlier, things that may happen when you're younger can really play can really have an impact, as you age. There are many ways in which you can seek support for mental health illness for not just yourself, but for a loved one. And, we're going to review these in more detail. Through personal habits, self-care, positive relationships, mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing. That's the first section. Through your employer benefit programs, you guys have the employee assistance program. And my field account manager, Sean Brothers, and Chris can mention this at the end, she's going to be giving you guys a talk on the resources that are available through EAP. Through your medical plans, we can help you find in-network mental health care providers. Virtual visits, not all plans have access, but you guys do have access to virtual. And also through your community, there's many organizations and support groups, that you can utilize. There's many ways you can support your mental health and emotional well-being. Practice self-care, sleeping and rest and recovery. We've talked about this if you've joined me on some of my other presentations. Sleep deprivation can have a huge impact on the way that we think and our cognitive function. They say you should aim for 7 to 9 hours. That may be realistic for some, may be different if you have little kids. I always say, at least 6, but everybody's different. Hormones are going to play a big factor in that too. If your hormones are off a little bit, you may need more sleep, but the only way you would know is if you get a blood profile done. Engaging in movement. Movement's a great way to release stress. We've talked about this in our soothing stress presentation. Some forms of meditative movement can help calm our minds, such as yoga, Tai Chi. Even just going out for a simple walk is great. Any form of movement to get your heart rate up, to get your circulation going, get outside, get some fresh air. Nutrition, eating nourishing foods, choosing foods that's right for your mind and body. We've talked about eating the rainbow. Make sure half your plate's fruits and vegetables. Try to get as much color as you can. Whole grains, because they contain fiber, they're slower digestible. Try to skip the sugary snacks. And, as always, make sure you're attending, regular care checkups. And then the final bullet, strengthen connections. Take time to talk with yourself daily to check in. This is very important in maintaining our overall health and well-being. When we know how we're feeling, we can identify the causes of stress in our life and ways to connect with ourselves, whether it's through journaling, meditation, prayer, just taking time to just sit and breathe. Those are all things that we can do to help ourselves in the long run. And now let's shift our mindset for a minute. Many times the way we talk to ourselves is unkind, and we've talked to this before. We beat ourselves up, especially, if we spend time on social media and we see someone on vacation and we're not, we can really, put ourselves in a bind, get ourselves down in a dump. And that's what we want to avoid. Practicing self-compassion, very, very important part of our emotional well-being. Don't underestimate the power of positivity. Reframing the way that we view situations by inserting positive thoughts instead of negative thoughts, they can go a long way. I always said, look at the positives in every situation and what we have versus what we don't have. Starting daily practice of writing down things that we're grateful. It's a great way to remind us to stay positive, when things get tough. And obviously, don't forget to laugh. Laughing helps release tension. Meditation is great. And you see that first one there, breathing. We talked about earlier, doing some simple breathing exercises to help reduce cortisol. Meditation, it can help calm our mind. It soothes anxiety. It helps reduce depression, because when we have a calm mind, we're better able to navigate life situations, and there's several ways to meditate. And, below, as you see the bullets there, it's not an inclusive list. There's no one size fits all. So, practicing mindfulness and meditation on your own or utilizing the apps like the Samvelo app or the Calm app, we'll talk about those in just a little bit. So let's pause for just a second. So I want you to pull out a little sticky note or a piece of paper, and I want you to write down 5 things that you're grateful, in your life. This is a practice, that we can do daily, like as I said on the previous slide, when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling overwhelmed. You remember, there's a lot of great things that are going on in our life and that bring us joy that we should really focus on versus the things that we don't have or that we cannot do. Let's take about 10 seconds, just write those down. And a little bit ago, I said that Sean Brothers, our field account manager, is going to be giving a couple presentations on the EAP, and Chris can mention those dates at the end. And again, that's a confidential service, and they can provide you with telephonic access to mental health. They give you access to a licensed counselor, and it's not just on they also cover financial and legal, elderly care, child care. So it's not just, things that you may need help with, whether it's battling stress or anxiety, although that could be beneficial too. But she will get into more of the details of all that. And I also have a flyer that I can give you guys. So if you have the UHC plan here, if you just go to myuhc.com or the UHC app, you can search in-network providers. And, I can also, if you want to set up a call or email back and forth with me, I can also help you navigate so we can, find if any of these resources, appeal to you or that you may need them. And again, this is the pathway to finding mental health providers. You just log into myuhc.com. At the top, you're going to look for Find Care and Cost. And then you just click on, as you see on the right there, Mental Health Directory, and then just follow the navigations. Here's some community resources. There's many organizations that can help support mental health and emotional well-being. And depicted on this slide, these are just a few ideas of where you can get support in your community. The NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Health and Illness. It's a support group for individuals and families, caregivers, professionals. They're located all throughout the United States. And if you go to their website, you can find resources within your community. You got the SAMHSA, that is the third one down, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, the Veterans Crisis. These are all 24/7 confidential hotlines you can call, and these are all licensed counselors. And then there's other resources such as, your local health departments, park district libraries, hospitals, believe it or not, even places of worship, are a great place that you can go find assistance, speak with somebody. Health and wellness resources. These are to assist people in improving health and well-being. We offer United Health Wellness, which is a comprehensive portfolio of wellness programs, services, and products. It's included in your plan at no cost. You guys are probably familiar with Rally, where you go to complete your health assessment. We have a maternity support program. We have a fine care and cost. Say, for example, you need to go to a specialist. It compares the providers in your network to see which ones may have a lower cost. And then this is the Sanvelo app. And we've talked about this, in some of the presentations before. This is the #1 app for stress, anxiety, and depression. Has over 3 million users. It's an evidence-based mobile care solution. It's created by clinical experts and psychologists, and it uses clinically validated techniques such as cognitive behavior therapy and medication. It's a really, really neat app. I recommend you at least, try it out, for a day, just to kind of go through and see a lot of powerful tools that are designed to help you work together, to help you grow and to feel happier. And, who's it for? Whether you're managing an ongoing condition like anxiety or depression, or even just dealing with stress, whether it's short-term, long-term, especially like the coronavirus, it gives you the help and support and the resources you need, over time. Any questions in regards to what was covered?
And everybody, if you have a question, feel free to unmute and ask the question. I'm also checking the chat, so if you prefer to chat in the conversation piece, just do that and I'll ask the question for you. Brenda, you've got your hand up.
I do. The Sanvelo app, is that just for United Healthcare
Sanvelo? I will double check on that. I know it's available for you guys, but I think it's available for people outside United as well.
I actually just downloaded it as you were talking about it, just to see what it was. And it says I can get started without having to have an account.
Oh, very nice.
So
Excellent.
Give it a try. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for this information, Joe. It was very good.
You're welcome. And I'm going to go ahead and put the QR code up.
Cool. Thank you, Joe. Yeah. So guys, definitely make sure to grab your camera, put it on that QR code, and the survey will pop up on your phone screen. It should take you no more than 2 or 3 minutes, but we'd love to have your feedback. But as everybody's taking the survey, what other questions do you have?
Chris, do you want to remind him of the dates of when Sean will be giving that talk?
Yeah, thank you. I do. So everybody, if the information about the EAP is shows, if you have any interest in that, we will have a session on August 31st in this time slot. So that is a Friday at 1 o'clock. So it'll be one of our regular Friday webinars. But I do recognize that not everybody can attend this, and I think the EAP session would be really great if it's live for people. So even though we will record it, we're going to have a second session on Wednesday, August 5th, which is the next Wednesday after that, at 10 a.m. So if morning works better for you than the afternoon, you are welcome to do that. It is going to, it's in the newsletter that was sent out this past Monday, and it'll be in the newsletter again this coming Monday. So if you're interested, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to add you to that invitation. If you know of anybody that this might be helpful for, forward it to them. Let them know that it's there, because I think, I'll be honest with you, I saw numbers early on in this year, how many people were using our EAP that Embraer is paying for, and not many people use it. Yet it is this great, great tool that we have. We don't take advantage of it. And I think this is a great opportunity for us all to do so.
Right, and with that EAP, Chris, that's available to anybody that's in the household, not just Embraer employees.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a big point. Yeah, anybody that's on your United Healthcare account, is that correct? Yeah. All right, I don't see any other questions coming in. So I think we're good to go. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being here with us today. Joe, thank you for your time and for your expertise. This was a really good one. They all are. But this is just really good. I think, we're all kind of just, stuck in the situation right now where we need to have some help with our emotional well-being. So thank you for being here for us.
I appreciate that. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. All right, guys, until next week, we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.